Most people focus on the moment early traction happens, the first signups, the first paying customer, the sudden spike in website traffic, the message that says, "We just went viral." That moment feels incredible. It feels like validation, proof that the idea works, proof that the market wants what you built. But the real story doesn't start there. It starts the day after. Because early traction is one of the most misunderstood moments in the life of a startup. It feels like success. But in reality, it's the beginning of a completely new set of challenges. Today, we're looking at what really happens the day after early traction, when the excitement fades, reality sets in, and the real work of building a company begins. Because traction doesn't guarantee success. Sometimes, it hides the problems that will decide whether your idea survives. Let's start with the moment everyone remembers. The moment the product starts moving. Maybe a startup launches their MVP, and within days, people start signing up. Social media mentions explode. Investors begin asking questions. Early users give enthusiastic feedback. Suddenly, the narrative forms quickly. This product is working. This startup is onto something. This could be big. And honestly, at that moment, the excitement is justified. Early traction can be a powerful signal. It shows that the problem might be real, the market might care, the timing might be right. But in that moment, people also make assumptions. They assume growth will continue, users will stay, revenue will scale, the product is already good enough. And most importantly, they assume the hardest part is over. At the time, this decision to push forward quickly makes sense. But traction doesn't prove that the business works. It only proves that something caught attention. The day after early traction, everything still looks fine. Actually, it often looks better than fine. Metrics are rising, user numbers are growing, feedback feels positive, the team feels energized. Early investors might even show interest, and this creates a powerful emotional moment for founders, because for the first time, the idea feels real. But something important happens in this phase. People begin to lock in their beliefs. They start believing. The product market fit is already proven, the growth will continue, the market demand is permanent. And because early traction feels like validation, few people step back and ask the harder questions. Instead, teams move forward confidently. Hiring begins, marketing budgets grow, infrastructure expands, the decision feels obvious, because in the short term, everything still looks like success. But this is where the invisible shifts begin, because early traction changes behavior, not just inside the company, but in the market around it. Users begin behaving differently. The first wave of users were curious explorers. The second wave is more skeptical. They expect the product to work reliably. They expect support. They expect improvements. At the same time, the startup faces new pressures. Pressure to grow faster, pressure to raise funding, pressure to expand features. And this is where small compromises often appear. Maybe the product roadmap becomes rushed. Maybe technical shortcuts are taken. Maybe the focus shifts from solving the core problem to chasing the next growth spike. None of these changes seem dramatic. Each one feels small, reasonable, necessary, but together, they start shaping the long-term trajectory of the company. And most teams don't notice this happening, because from the outside, the startup still looks successful. The consequences don't arrive loudly, they arrive slowly. At first, growth simply slows down. Then retention becomes harder. Customer support requests increase, infrastructure costs grow faster than revenue. And suddenly, months later, people ask a question that feels surprising. What happened? But the truth is, nothing broke overnight. The outcome was forming long before anyone noticed. Early traction creates momentum, but if the foundation isn't strong, momentum amplifies weaknesses just as much as strengths. It reveals weak onboarding, poor retention design, unclear value propositions, technical limitations. These problems were always there. Early traction simply hid them temporarily. Most people don't ignore warning signs. They simply don't see them yet. Human psychology plays a huge role here. One powerful force is confirmation bias. When something starts working, we naturally look for evidence that confirms our success. We celebrate the good signals. We overlook the uncomfortable ones. Another factor is emotional investment. Founders spend months, sometimes years, building an idea. When traction finally arrives, it feels like the story has a happy ending, but in reality, the story is just beginning. Then there's process blindness. When growth happens quickly, teams focus on responding to momentum instead of analyzing it. They react to success rather than understanding it. And finally, there's organizational inertia. Once a startup commits to a direction, changing course becomes harder with every new hire, customer, and investor. So even if warning signs appear, the company often continues moving forward the same way. People with experience don't judge decisions by the moment they're made. They judge them by what happens afterward. Experienced founders, investors, and builders look for different signals after early traction. They ask questions like, are users coming back? Are they telling others about the product? Does the value increase with continued use? Are support tickets decreasing or increasing? Is the growth organic or artificially pushed? They also monitor behavior changes. Does the team stay focused on the core problem, or do they chase every opportunity that appears? Does product quality improve with scale, or does it slowly degrade? Experienced builders understand something important. Traction is not the finish line. It's a diagnostic test, a signal that tells you where to look next. So what's the lesson here? It's not don't pursue traction. Traction is essential, but the real lesson is simple. Plan for the day after. When traction appears, the most valuable question isn't, how fast can we grow? It's what will break when we do. Strong startups treat traction like the beginning of validation, not the end of it. They focus on retention before scale, value before expansion, stability before speed. Because sustainable companies aren't built on attention, they're built on repeatable value, and that only becomes visible after the excitement fades. Most decisions don't fail at the moment they're made. They fail in the days, weeks, and months that follow. Early traction is exciting, but the real test of an idea happens after the spotlight moves on. If this changed the way you think about startup success, then this video did exactly what it was meant to do. This is the day after, and next week, we'll explore what happens the day after a startup raises its first funding round, because that moment changes everything.